Hi parents, welcome to our introduction to penmanship video. This is just a brief video to help you understand what we do with penmanship and why we do it that way. Before I get started, I want to explain to you that the name of the font that I'm using is Getty Dubay. That's Getty -Dubay. And I got it online. You can probably still get it. I think it goes out of Portland University. So I'm going to talk today about how I introduce lowercase letters. And just like we learn lowercase letters for reading, we learn lowercase for writing because those are the ones that you use most of the time. And they're also the most difficult. Children they're so surrounded by capital letters with all the toys and everything that they get. They learn to do that pretty quickly and pretty easily, but the lowercase are the ones that we use the most. So that's what I start with. I want to tell you that what we're going to do here when I talk about how we do this is we're going to focus on the starting point, the direction of the starting point, and then the alignment of the letter. So I usually start with a chalkboard. And so I start with tall line, short line, tall line, short line. And it's hard for me to do it while I show you, but it's tall line, short line. All right. And we learn that we make tall ones, we make short ones. That's the alignment. And we always start at the top. You never start your letters down below. You never start your letters down below. You never start your letters down below. You never start below because it makes you kind of slow. You never start your letters down below. Next, we learn how to do an ellipse. And that is by going to the left and around and bump the bottom and come up. And then we start making faces. All kinds of faces. Just to practice that every day for a few minutes. And finally, another really crucial stroke to learn is how to make humps. And that's going to be down, up and over, up and over, up and over. And what I'm doing here is I'm starting here. Always start here. You never start your letters down below. Go down, and then you go up, touch the bottom, down, touch the bottom, up and touch the bottom. And some of the children do this. And it just takes repeated prompting from them and modeling from you to go up on the line and down. Now, once I've introduced those few strokes, they can actually write their first name, their first word. And I have a whole group of animals, most of which are 3-letter words, that I use to introduce all of the lowercase with the exception of J and I think maybe one other. No, J might be the only one that's not there. So the first word is L, I, N. And I typically start teaching this after they know the sounds of the letters, so it makes sense. And after they've started segmenting words. L is tall, short line, around, down, up, and over. And we practice this a few times so that they can just write it from memory, making certain that they always come down and touch the bottom, and they always start up here or up here. And then of course, we have to draw the line. And then after we do that, we start working on the most difficult group of letters. And that is the group of letters that start like a C. Now, to make a C, you go along the line, come down, bump the bottom, and curl up your toes. I tell them to go along the line, curl up and curl up their toes, because if not, they do this. All right? Various forms like that. And this is going to be important that we understand how to do this because the next letter we introduce, go along the line, bump the bottom, straight up, and then straight down. Oops, made a little tail there. Don't want to do that. All right? And there are a whole bunch of letters if you can do this properly, that you can do with this C group of words. And that includes, actually, it includes S as well, because I tell them, go along the line, then, no, I changed my mind, no, I changed my mind, and curl up your toes. So there's your S. Now, with those, we can write the words, and I'm going to show you this list in a moment. You can write the words. In fact, I will bring it up right here. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna share here, and now we've got it. So we're gonna do, then we can do the words cat, ram, rat, ant, and man. Then we start the tail letters, and this time again with the alignment, we're going to start here on the middle, on the top line, up, straight down, and curl up your toes. You go way down and curl up your toes. Now we also we'll learn later the which is a scoop and a line, and a scoop and a tail. And you can teach them j as well. But the important thing is that we're starting here on this second line. Now notice that I only have 2 lines here. I do not do the third line, which you usually find in penmanship papers for young children in English. But I'm not doing that because it's confusing. And then when you see our workbooks and you see all of this colored in solid, you'll understand it's to help them with the alignment. That will help them a lot. And with those words, with those letters, we can do dog and frog and hog. And to do these next words with ox and fox, of course, we have to have a diagonal line. And those are quite difficult for children this age. And then we also need to introduce and now the next set of words we're going to be using, the next word is going to introduce a new letter with its own unique kind of tail. And that letter is straight down, come up to the top, and around. All right? Now, when I'm using, there are a couple of things to notice about this letter that's difficult. One is the straight down, which is quite different from G and Y and J. And then you come all the way up. Do not jump to the top. You come down and you come all the way up. You go around and you hit that bottom line. And that's rather difficult. Now, the other challenge of this letter and some other letters that I teach early in the system is this little space here. And I'm going to make 2 examples. Neither of these have the proper little space here. So to encourage them, when we first start out with words like r and and I get out those little mini chocolate chips and we do chocolate chip letters. And that little space, if it's just perfect, it gets a little teeny tiny mini chocolate chip. And that is very motivating. They love to do those letters. So then we introduce e, and e has to start in the middle. It's the only one that does this. It starts in the middle and it goes up, bump the top, around and around and around and around, and bump the bottom. And then from there, after we've done, we review, but then we learn how to go down, up and over, and touch the bottom. And then finally we do the scoop, short line, scoop, tail, and K is a very, very difficult one. So we start tall line, big tall pole, and then we start out here, and in the beginning I make little dots so they know where to go, and we slide down the slide. Whee, whee. So it's a tall line, whee, whee, and that one's difficult. Every letter that takes 2 strokes, like T or F or K or X, are all difficult because the child has to lift up their pencil and start again. And every time you start again, it's more and more difficult. And then finally we have Z, Z, Z. And I tell them zigzag, zig. And I usually teach them how to do that. They need a diagonal line first, and then they can figure out how to go, make it go along the top and along the bottom. And then, as I said, you'll do J at the end, and I'm going to review those last letters with you, or those last animals. By the time you've done this, you can do pig and hen and bat and cub and bug, and we start learning how to do E, which is the E sound, B, and eel. We do elk, yak. Then we do vet, and finally we do zoo. And at the end of that, we get a, I make them a booklet, and we do our zoo booklet. And some of the older children have already brought their zoo booklets home. Now, I want to, before I close, I just want you to know that what I'm doing here is I'm really talking down, up, and over. Rather than me writing this, and then they just copy it, silently copy it, I write it, I write the example, and then, well, I say down, up, and over, and then they do it down, up, and over, down, up, and over, up, and over, and then they do it down, up, and over, up, and over. And when we do the A, we go along the line, bump the bottom, up, and straight down. Don't stick your leg out, straight down. So I do a vocalization of all of these, and after a while they just understand tall line, short line, down, up and over, up and around, all of those instructions. And this helps them a lot with their writing. So that's the end of the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and you will find this handout posted online on Seesaw.